Oh, goodness. Hi there, YouTube. I feel like I can't get a possible screenshot for a thumbnail right now. I just don't. Ugh. But that's okay because my phone doesn't seem to be able to take new pictures today anyways. Lately, like a lot of things on my phone, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of times it doesn't. Anyway, I'm here at the club. Today is Wednesday. Yes, another wonderful Wednesday. Wednesday being a kind of, or I'm sorry, wonderful being kind of a weird word to use for that. Yeah, honestly, you know, I talk a lot about on my channel about how most of my shifts don't really tend to go all that great, but Wednesdays in particular, I do tend to really struggle with. But who knows? I mean, technically every day is a new day, right? So, and every night's a new night. Oh, which reminds me, I've been saying recently how I really want to try to do a Friday day shift this week if possible. I remember earlier that that's actually especially going to be so, or going to be especially so, because this Friday isn't going to be another Friday the 13th. So like last month in February, we had a Friday the 13th, and I guess this month we're going to have one as well in a couple days this Friday. So yeah, I would like to try to come out for that, hopefully be able to do a stream that day. What I'd like to try to do, what I'd really like to try to do would be to I really have to get up early enough for this, but I would really like to try to be able to do, oh gosh, Coastal Lock and Key just drove up. There's a big red van that just pulled in, and they say that they're lock and key services, so that's fun. Yeah, I also talked on my channel about how stuff goes missing from my car and my apartment and my locker here at the club. So anytime I see handy dandy locksmith, that's always a nice feeling. Gosh, nothing lasts forever. I'm not immortal, thank frickin' gosh. I don't like existing though, I will say that. God, get away from me. Oh my god, there's a manager to my right. Lock and key to my left. Just go away. Oh god, I hate existing so much. Sorry. I love it, I love it. Can't get enough. Oh god! Everything is just so painful. Excruciating. What I would like to try to do this Friday. Oh my god. This Friday, I would like to try to get up early enough to do a stream and come to work and come right back here, back to the club to do another shift. Okay, yes. Sometimes I'll start my streams off by saying this. I'm not in the best mood today. As usual, things are going kind of wrong for me. Let's see, it's a gray, cloudy day. It was really nice out yesterday. Now today is, yeah, pretty gloomy. Who knows? Maybe I'll see a squirrel though. Oh no, that was just a leaf blowing by. That was just a leaf. I was like, is that a squirrel? No, been a while since I've seen a squirrel. Those tend to cheer me up though. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. might not be able to get a thumbnail for this video, or at least a current one, like I like to try to do. Phone's maxed out on storage, although it has been pretty good about taking thumbnails lately, but in order for me to make that happen, I was having to go back and delete old photos when possible. A lot of times my phone will not allow me to delete photos. For whatever reason, they just won't delete randomly from time to time, pretty often. So that comes and goes. I can never seem to predict when it's gonna work and when it's gonna not. Yeah, I was able to get a thumbnail yesterday, which was nice, but I definitely feel like I'm stuck in a computer simulation, which I've also mentioned before, because for the thumbnail yesterday, I had been at the gym earlier that day, and I was kind of torn at the gym between getting 7 miles on the treadmill, which I would normally try to do on a good day, but then after I got the 7 towards the end of that workout yesterday, I was like, let's try to get 8. And I tried to get the 8 miles very last minute, to where I had to turn up the speed on the treadmill for like it was actually during the 5-minute cool down. So for the 5-minute cool down, well, the last 2 minutes of the workout, I turned the speed up to 6, which up until that point I hadn't done up to 6. I was like more in like 5.5, or sometimes slightly lower than that in the higher 4s. So the last 2 minutes I turned it up to 6, but then for the 5-minute cool down after that, I turned it up to 7 for a lot of that in order to squeeze in the 8 miles in the last little bit of time that I had left for that workout, which was a 99-minute workout plus the 5-minute cool down. So altogether, I guess 104 minutes. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, so I was torn towards the very end of that. Like, should I try to get the 8 miles? Obviously, yes, I did decide to try to do that, and I did manage to do so, which was nice. I got 8.4 or 8.04 miles. But now, okay, so getting the thumbnail yesterday, I was like, should I do 7 or should I do 8? And since I got 8 miles, I went with a thumbnail where I was like doing the number 8. But okay, so let's take the gloves off. This looks cuter. That looks better, right? Because it's like a peace sign than this. I feel like for the thumbnail that I got yesterday with the 3 fingers, this hand just looked weird. That just looks weird. I don't like the way that looks. Is there any other appropriate way that you can do 2 fingers, 3 fingers on your hand? What's the rock? Okay, so I don't know what that means. Is that like rock on, or that's rock on? I should have done this. That doesn't look right either. I should have just gotten 7 miles. I should have just been lazier, and because that looks better, right? But anyway, so when I got the 8 miles with this, my hand in that thumbnail, this hand looked to me like, okay, does anyone remember that TV show Dinosaurs? The little baby dinosaur? That's what's coming to my mind. I don't even know if those characters had like regular hands and fingers, probably not. But just like the texture of his self, kind of like lumpy and weird looking. I don't know, that's what it reminded me of when I saw that thumbnail. And I was like, that does not look good. But so yeah, I should have just stuck with 7, I guess. But okay, so this is why I feel like I'm stuck in a simulation. Or this is another reason I feel like I'm stuck in a computer simulation. So I was going back and forth between 7 and 8. Another thing with the mileage for that day, for that workout. Another thing that I've been talking about lately is I've been checking the electric meter outside the building that I stay at, because I've had a lot of issues with my electric bills. And normally I do check it before I come into work, and then I also check it when I get back from work. So usually when I'm here at the club for work, I do like a 10-hour shift, so I'm gone for quite a while. And normally when I get back to the apartment, the meter is at the same reading. When I get back, it's at the same reading as when I left earlier, about 10 or 11 hours ago, sometimes longer if I do other things in the day before starting my shift that afternoon. But I've noticed lately on Tuesdays, okay, and I don't know what it is about Tuesdays, but I have a theory. So like last night, for instance, yesterday was Tuesday. This is the 3rd week in a row, I'm pretty sure, where on Tuesdays, for whatever strange reason, the meter has gone up an entire kilowatt hour in the time that I was gone and at work. So basically when I wasn't even there. So it was yesterday for Tuesday, when I left for work, or when I left, when I left earlier that day to go to the gym and then come to work, the meter was at 10,007 kilowatt hours. So yeah, then I went to the gym, I got the 7 and then the 8 miles on the treadmill. Then I did my 10-hour shift at the club, worked until close. When I got back, and I actually was thinking about this on my drive back, I was like, oh no. I kind of like already figured like, oh crap, it's gonna be up another kilowatt hour since I was gone, 10,008 instead of 7 like it should be, because it was Tuesday, and I was like starting to notice a pattern with that. But then I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like going back and forth between the number 7 and 8 earlier today, and I ended up going with 8, and I even put a thumbnail with 8. So then I was thinking, I was like, it's definitely going to be 8 now when I get back. And yes, it was. Sure enough, I got back, I checked the meter. It was at 7 when I left. Wasn't there. I wasn't there the entire time that I was gone, go figure. I got back, it was at 10,008. So that's the 3rd week in a row, I'm pretty sure that's happened on a Tuesday. But my theory for that, I think, is, so you know how on Tuesdays on my channel for a while now, I've been calling them Tinka Tuesdays, doing Tinka Tuesdays and calling them that, just for the alliteration, I guess. I don't know, but it just sounds good, right? Or I think it does. When I pay my electric bill online, the name that I sign in with on that account, I do use the name Tinka, which I couldn't say why. I don't know why. I think, I guess just when I first made that account so many years ago, when I first started staying at that apartment, I guess I had just become a dancer, so like just become Tinka, and I was just really proud of that name and happy with it. And because it didn't have as many negative connotations at that point, I wanted to think. So me being the stupid person that I am, I just used that name to sign up with and on that account for that electric company. So now it's like, oh, okay, so Tinka Tuesday, my name is Tinka on there. Just another way that I'm being messed with, clearly. Yeah, this world seems to be run by very bad people, right? That's not good. I am going to try to call them back, though. I've had many conversations with different customer service representatives from that company. I've been on the phone. I've had many conversations with various people from there. One of them recently was over an hour, and that was before I was coming into work. So not there at the apartment, I'm having that hour-long conversation with them before going to work, and just worrying the entire time during that conversation if the meter is going to be going up when I'm not there. So I guess I'll just have to call them back. Well, most of those conversations I had with them, that was actually before I started noticing the trend on Tuesdays. I think at that point I had noticed it happen one time. So that's, yeah, maybe a few weeks ago when I first noticed that. At that point, it was still fairly new for me to notice that. So at that point, I hadn't yet noticed the trend of it seeming to happen on Tuesdays. So when I called them that time, I was just like, why did this happen? Why did it go up an entire kilowatt hour when I wasn't even there? And they were like, oh, there can be so many reasons for that. Just the usual kind of BS that people tend to come up with stuff like that. So, but now at this point, it's been another couple of weeks, or another few weeks since then, since I first started noticing that. But at this point, I've noticed that trend on Tuesdays. So now I'm just going to have to call them back, I guess, and be like, look, why is this only happening on, I don't want to jinx it and say only, but, well, why is this happening on Tuesdays? There's nothing that I do differently on Tuesdays other than on my YouTube, I do Tinka Tuesdays, but I'm not going to mention that to them, I'm sure they already know, apparently, but But no, I am gonna, I guess, just have to call him back and take more of my time and energy to do so. Um, because that is pretty weird. Maybe it's something that I'm just not aware of with their company. If anything, I would think maybe like on a Sunday would be a day for that to happen, or on a Saturday, like maybe the start or the end of a week. But it is very suspicious and strange to me that it would be happening on a Tuesday, especially since I do Tinka Tuesdays and my name is Tinka on their account or on their website. So, or my name is Tinka in general, really. It might not be my government name, but it's my name that I chose. It's one thing in my world that I did actually consciously choose. Although, yes, another thing that I also definitely have a lot of regrets about, because at this point it seems to have a lot of negative connotations associated with it, unfortunately. But the name itself still makes me happy. It still has a nice sound to it, I think, and kind of makes me smile. Although, yeah, a lot of bad memories with Tinka. But a lot of good memories too. A lot of good memories on the stage and on the pole here at the club and stuff. But I don't know. It's very suspicious, right? It's very, very sus. Very suspicious. I think back, it gets me thinking back to before I was staying at this particular apartment that I've been at for a while. Before that, I was at an apartment where I had many roommates, and that was the apartment that I first moved into after moving out of my mom's old house. I was living with her for about 2 years after my ex and I broke up back in 2012. So I was living with my mom in the same state that I am now. She has since moved and lived in other states, but back then she was still in the same state that I'm in. And yeah, I lived with her for about 2 years after my ex and I broke up. And then after I moved out of that house, I moved into the first apartment that I had in the general area, kind of closer to the club that I work at. So yeah, there I had many roommates, and there was one roommate in particular there. I mean, there were a lot of roommates there that would like come and go, and they were all pretty much just completely crazy and like really scary, honestly, like weird people. One of them in particular, though, she was the first person that I met there. She was like the one that was there the longest, and she was there the first day that I moved in. I just remember her like first impression on me was, holy crap, like this is definitely like a strong personality, she really came across very just like, oh gosh, like how is this gonna go kind of thing. And that carried on and continued with me staying there. It just, you know, increased and escalated with how much of a character she was while I was there. She was a large part of why I moved out when I did, and also the way that I did. I think I stayed in that building for, it was actually, yeah, pretty much another 2 years. So, but it felt like a lot happened in that 2 years. So yeah, but I guess I had been at my mom's house, my mom's old house, before that for about 2 years, and then I was in that apartment for about another 2 years. Whereas the place that I've been at now, I've been there for like 10 years, which is the longest I've ever been in one place, actually, like my entire life, my entire existence. So anyways, she was crazy though. She was really crazy. And I just remember, so I'm 37 now, going on 38 later this year. When I first moved into that apartment, she was 36. So back then I would have been, okay, so that was 2014. I would have been 26. No, 25. I was 25. Back in 2014, I was 25 and I was going to be turning 26 later that year in October. So most of that year I was 25. I was 25, she was 36. So she was 11 years older than me. But technically, I mean, she was still younger than my age now, which is really weird to think about. But I just remember, so yes, she was 36 back then. And I just remember she would be on the phone with, I guess, various different companies, like that she was paying bills for. Like, I don't know, her phone. Actually, it's weird because most of the utilities were included back at that building. So that building included like heat, hot water, electricity, even internet. Even our internet was covered there. Which was why when I first moved into there, I thought it might be like a good starter place for like a good starter apartment for me. Which it was, I guess, other than the many crazy people that were in that building. And it did have a very bad reputation for for a good reason. Anyway, she would be on the phone with whoever it was, I guess like bill collectors, or it seemed, from what I could hear, what I could gather, it sounded like most of what she was talking about or like screaming about to them was about bills and about money and about like disputes, I guess, maybe with credit card companies. Or I didn't really ask her. I just tried to mind my own business, you know, but at some points it was kind of hard because she would very, very often, while I was there, you know, obviously like while I was there and not at work, like working at the club, which I was at the club pretty often, but oh, it's 3:30 on the dot. I started this stream shortly after 3. Mental note. So yeah, when I was there at that apartment, she would a lot of that time be on the phone with whoever it was that she was on the phone with, just screaming, like screaming at the top of her lungs pretty much, like just really, really clearly upset and arguing and arguing and arguing, in a very rude way, it seemed like. I mean, she was really like, you know how there's like that stereotype or that term, like being a Karen, like asking to speak to the manager as like a middle-aged woman? I would say that she was more than just a Karen. She was taking that whole stereotype to kind of an extreme level. And this is before the term Karen was even a thing, I'm pretty sure. I mean, this was like, you know, over 10 years ago. So, but she would really be like, I just remember thinking like, I would just feel so bad for whoever would have been on the other end of that phone line, like talking to her. And this would go on for like hours. I mean, she would be on the phone. This was like a very, very common, regular thing with her. And her phone conversations with them would last for a very long time. And she would be yelling, if not screaming, for most of that time. And I remember just thinking like, gosh, I hope that I'm never like that. Like, and I'm not. I would not say that I'm like that now. But you know, like I feel like that inside, that angst and that frustration and that rage and that anger and that just like, you know, that whole vibe that she seemed to have while she would be on the phone like that. I feel that internally for sure. And I definitely like verbally, outwardly express that like kind of to myself and whoever's like secretly listening in my car, like hacking into my car, I guess. I'm like looking at the radio right now. It came on by itself yesterday and the day before. So, you know, like I'll do that like when I'm driving, like with road rage. Whenever I'm driving, there's nobody in my car but me, as far as I'm aware anyways. I've given many dancers here at the club rides before, but you know, generally speaking, it's just me in my car, again, as far as I'm aware. So I'll kind of like, you know, let out my anger that way, like to myself. Again, unless somebody else is like secretly spying on me and listening to me through my car, which could very well be the case for all I know. But as far as I'm aware, it's just to myself, or it's just like, you know, just trying to let it out that way. And there was a video that accidentally posted. There was a live that was like just over a minute long, I think, a couple weeks ago or like a week ago when I was driving over to the gym, where I guess I accidentally hit the button to record a live without realizing it, like, again, accidentally. But so it was just like, you know, I left it up, but it's just me like driving and just like, that's not what I would consider road rage. But you can tell that I was just very, very frustrated, just very like, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you know, because I hate driving and I hate doing almost everything it is that I do practically. So other than like being on stage in my YouTube, but you know, even with like, yeah, here at the club and my YouTube, it's like I have so many things that seem to be working against me. Like my phone is so messed up, and with my phone being messed up, and then yes, I have many struggles here at the club, which I talk about a lot, but with my phone being messed up, Like with the club, there's this app that we're on that we have to sign into the club with. Lately, with my phone messing up, I haven't been able to log on to the app. So I don't know. I think hopefully one of the managers can just log me in from their account. I'm hoping. But that's no good either. So yeah, like in that video you can see like that's just like the tip of the iceberg, not even, of like my frustration and my anger that comes out when I'm driving a lot. Luckily with that video, like I said, that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg, because normally when I'm driving and like I think I'm by myself, I am much angrier and much more verbal and saying a lot of like really terrible things, like with my road rage while I'm driving. So that video was like nothing. So I was like, whatever, I'll just leave it up. But okay, so when I am on the phone with customer service representatives, like when I call my electric company, when I call my phone company, whenever I call a company to try to speak with someone, I really try not to be like that old roommate of mine. You know, I'm not like that. I really try to be polite. But I do try to be like, you know, more serious, obviously, and more assertive than I would normally be. I pretty much, the phone voice that I use in those situations, this really drives me nuts, and I really, really do not like this at all. But the voice reminds me of my mom. It sounds like my mom, and I hate that more than I could ever put into words. It crushes my soul very badly. It disgusts me, honestly. It makes me feel nauseous and just horrified. But, you know, I'm not just gonna like be my normal natural self where I'm just like cracking jokes and being silly and laughing, you know, obviously. Like if it's more of a serious situation for me where it's dealing with like bills and money and like mistakes that I feel like the company is making, yeah, of course I'm going to try to be more serious and use my more adult kind of voice. But I really try to make a point not to be rude and not to yell. Like I'll try to still be polite as best I can, you know? Whereas that old roommate of mine, she would just be ballistic pretty much. I mean, she would be like just nightmare level, like customer to deal with for those people probably. And honestly, like also nightmare level roommate. There's parts about her that I did like though. You know, she was just a character. But again, yeah, she was also a big part of why I moved out of that apartment in the way that I did. When I moved out of there, it was very abrupt, and I ended up having to leave a lot of my stuff behind. It was just a mess, you know. It was not planned. It was not organized. It was just a big old mess, like so many of the things have been for me in my world, unfortunately. But so I just remember when that was happening, she was frothing at the mouth. Like she was really upset about like certain things that had been going on at the time, and she was as usual yelling about stuff, and yeah, to the point where she was like frothing. And I was just like, wow. At that point I'd had it, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And so that's why I ended up leaving in the way that I did, where it was just abrupt and yeah, just a big old mess. But anyway, so but now that I'm closer to that same age that she was back then, I do understand a little more. Like, also same with my mom. Like, my mom was always so angry when I was growing up, and especially when I was becoming a teenager. My mom probably would have been around that same age range where I am now and where that old roommate of mine was back then. That's pretty much the same age that my mom would have been when I was becoming a teenager, I'm pretty sure. So as the older I get, I feel like, yes, unfortunately, the more I can kind of understand that stuff, like just, but it's like, yeah, I mean, I look at the stuff that I deal with and I think about the stuff that I deal with where it's like, I'm clearly being very messed with by someone or something that I really don't even know what it might be. But I still try so hard not to let it like just completely destroy my soul or completely destroy my spirit or my attitude or my moods or my personality. You know, I really just try to, yeah, to not be rude or when I'm on the phone with people, or to just still be polite and still try to reach out to people, have conversations, smile, joke, laugh around, have fun when I can. I still really try, and I do wonder though, and I do worry about like how much longer am I going to be able to fight it, and how much longer am I going to be able to still maintain whatever level of, I don't know, good spiritness I still have left in me. Like it just keeps wearing you down as the time goes on with all of this crap. But I don't know. Damn, she was crazy though. I'm crazy myself, but I mean, just hearing her conversations and like how loud she was being, and I also remember thinking like, I wish there was a lot of the other roommates. We did have many other roommates in that unit that we were in, that were in other bedrooms that were in that main apartment area, but they were also, you know, a lot of times at work, or a lot of times just not there, visiting other people in the building, because it was a very big building with a lot of people there. So, but I just remember thinking like, I wish I had like more of witnesses, like more of other people to kind of just hear what I'm hearing, to where it's not just like me alone in this room, just like hearing it outside the walls or outside the door, and just being like, holy crap, like it was just, back then, especially back then, it was really hard for me to wrap my head around, you know, because I was so much younger. But yes, now that I'm older, it's a little easier for me to understand, but I still try not to let myself get like that too bad. Other than the road rage, I guess. But the road rage is like, yeah, it's not me like putting it onto other people. When it's the road rage, it's just, from what I can tell, it's just me alone in my car. So just me dealing with me myself, or, you know, I don't know. Anyways, but all right, on to my shift. I have just under 20 minutes before I have to sign into the club. Back onto my shift last night. Yes, last night was Tuesday night. I did work until close. I had done 8 miles on the treadmill at the gym earlier that day before I started my shift. So going into that shift, I was intending to try to take it easy and to try to just pace myself, that kind of thing. But the way that it turned out for that shift yesterday, for most of that shift, up until around, I think 10 or 10:30, there were hardly any other dancers there other than myself. I think for most of that time, it was just me and maybe like 3 other dancers. So with that being the case, I was going on stage a lot. And not only that, but there were actually some people there by the stage. There was this group of guys, and they were there, and at the club and at the stage for quite a while. They were at the stage for hours and hours, which I really hardly see that ever at all. It's very rare that I will see anybody, or like a group of people like that, especially, just stay by the stage for a long time, like hours and hours like that. I mean, the slower shifts that I tend to work, it's kind of rare for me to see anybody at the stage at all anyways. Or usually if I do see people go up to the stage, it's brief. You know, it'll be for maybe like a song or two, if that. Or it'll just be like real quick, like come and go, you know, tip a few dollars and walk away. Or if they do sit down, yeah, again, very brief. Whereas this was a group of like maybe 6 or 7 guys, and they were just sitting at the same spot all along the side of the stage for like many, many hours. So I really hardly ever see that. And because there weren't many other dancers other than myself, yes, I was going on quite a lot. So at first, you know, I did still try to do my pole tricks and stuff for them. So I really wasn't feeling up to it. I mean, I wanted to stretch, and I wanted to, yeah, pace myself, kind of take it a little easier after being at the gym like that and doing the 8 miles on the treadmill. But I mean, whenever there are people like that at the stage, and especially if it's like a group and they're just like staying there to really watch the stage, I do, you know, want to put on a show for them and, you know, show off or whatever. So you know, try to get them interested, keep them interested, that kind of thing. So I did end up doing that for quite a few rounds. When I was going up there, I went on the pole, did my pole tricks, and I felt like I was doing pretty good with that. Not feeling great, of course, but I still felt like overall and with the circumstances, I feel like I did okay. But oh gosh, I look like crap. I just don't know what to do. Like, but yeah, because they were there for a while and I just kept going on, I kept going on stage while they were there. And then after like the third or fourth or fifth time of me going on stage with them there, I was kind of running out of stuff to do, like for pole tricks or, I mean, technically there's plenty of other things that I could have done, but I just wasn't really feeling up to it. And I was like, all right, what else? They're like, all right, what else you got? What else you got? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, just, you know, at that point, I kind of just wanted to like lay back on my back and just like do floor work or like stretch my legs and stuff. You know what I mean? But also last night, this was one of those times where the stage floor was particularly disgustingly dirty. Just so gross, like so gross. There were like little bits of glass, it seemed like, various places. That does happen, you know, not infrequently. That does happen from time to time where there'll just be these little specks of glass on the stage sometimes. And I really try my best to watch out for them, but yeah, the lights are all just different kind of lights flashing around, hitting you in the face, like laser beams hitting you directly into your eyes. Like, you know, it's difficult to try to focus and see that stuff a lot of times. And it really takes a lot of focus and a lot of just awareness, like, I don't know, spatial awareness of your surroundings, that kind of thing. I really have to make a point to look out for that stuff as best I can. And not just like allow myself to get lost in the zone of like all these bright flashing multi different color lights and strobes, and the rest of it is like pitch black, you know, but except for these like bright flashing lights and stuff. So, but yeah, there were little bits of glass on the stage. Other than that though, just in general, the stage floor was very dirty, just very gross. So I wanted to kind of just like lay back and do some floor work, but then I really didn't want to because the stage was just disgusting. So it was definitely a real struggle yesterday, that shift. Yeah. And let me see what else I have written down here. I'm so tired. Oh, also with those lights, they were the cellulite lights, which I've mentioned before a few times. A lot of the lights they use here at the club are brutal. I mean, they will show cellulite in a way that you would have never imagined seeing it, or at least from me. And what I noticed, a lot of, they recently added new lights to the club, maybe like a month ago or a few weeks ago, they did new lights. I don't like them, which is weird because it was actually my favorite manager that installed them, but I don't like them. I don't. Normally I feel like he does a really good job with stuff, but I don't know if he picked them out or if the club picked them out, but I don't like the new lights. I really don't. I'm really trying to keep an open mind and like convince myself. But also what I've noticed with these new lights is that a lot of them seem to be centered, positioned and focused more towards the middle and the center of the stage, which is where the pole is. So a lot of the brightest, most distracting lights there, these new ones are, yeah, like shining directly on the pole, which for me, when a lot of my standing stretches, and I'm very pole oriented and pole focused. I mean, I'm very stage oriented and stage focused in general, but especially, yes, the pole, of course, it's the center of the stage. And I do like to try to do pole tricks, and pretty often when I feel up to it. So with the lights on the pole the way that they are now, when I'm standing by the pole trying to stretch, or, you know, especially when I'm like climbing the pole and trying to do pole tricks, all of the brightest flashing cellulite enhancing type lights are they're focused right there, like right directly in my eyes. And a lot of them, I literally can't see a thing. I can't see anything. It's to the point where I'm really just better off closing my eyes. So, you know how there's like that saying, like when you do something a lot and you get to be like, oh, I could do that with my eyes closed. I'm pretty much having to force myself to convince myself that I'm at that point where it's like, oh, that pole trick, or, you know, going on the pole, yeah, I can do that with my eyes closed. I don't actually want to do it with my eyes closed, but I guess at this point I feel like that's just the better option, it seems like, with the way that those lights are now a lot of the time. Yeah, standing there in the middle of the stage, holding onto the pole, looking out, or trying to look out into the crowd, I just can't see anything. And they were especially so like that last night for most of that shift, pretty much all of that shift, I think, or definitely for most of it anyway, if not all of it. And yeah, there was that group of guys by the stage for hours and hours. And I just remember like I did do pole tricks, but I remember being in the middle of the stage by the pole, and I was trying to look at this group of guys who were literally less than like 3 or 4 feet in front of me. They were right there at the stage. I couldn't see any of them. I couldn't see anything. So the lights last night were especially awful, and just lately in general, they're just so bad. I thought the lights were bad before. These are worse. These are worse. These are awful. I feel bad saying it. Again, I'm trying to convince myself, like, no, it's, you know, I just have to get used to them. I just have to this and that. But honestly, I don't know. It's hard for me not to say that I just outright hate them, because I pretty much do. But anyway, oh gosh. Oh man, I have less than 10 minutes before I have to sign into the club, so a part of me wants to do that now. I thought I was going to be able to do this whole stream before 4 o'clock, before I had to sign in, but I guess not. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this next part, but so this, oh gosh, all right. Should I sign in before I try to say this? Oh God, I'm so tired. Let me just try to get this over with, I guess. Holy crap. When I go on the treadmill at the gym, so yes, I was just saying earlier how before that shift yesterday, I had been at the gym I had done that workout on the treadmill to get the 8 miles on the treadmill. And towards the end of that workout, I really had to increase the speed quite a lot in order to get the full 8 miles, kind of at the last minute, deciding at the last minute to go from 7 miles to get the 8 miles, to go up and get the 8 instead. In order to squeeze in the 8 in the time that I had left, making that decision towards the end of the workout, I really had to increase the speed to a much higher level than I would normally want to do, or that I felt up to doing. I just knew that the only way for me to get that mileage with the 8 miles would be to go up to that speed. So in doing that, again, I try not to go up to that speed because I just don't like to do it. It feels brutal. It's yet another thing that feels brutal to me, as if I don't already feel things being brutal enough besides. It's just no good. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. It feels awful. Sometimes I just try to push myself to do it in order to get a certain mileage within a certain time frame on the treadmill like that, which is, yeah, what I did yesterday. But a lot of times, another thing that I don't like about that, and another thing that puts me off of trying to do that very often, is I sometimes will get, my underwear will kind of like rub the inside of my upper thigh to where I guess it chafes. I don't know, like normally that doesn't, so if I keep the treadmill at a normal speed, like if I just do like a regular jog, that usually doesn't happen. I've only noticed that being an issue. I only noticed that happening when I increase the speed on the treadmill to a certain level where it's faster than I want to go. And also, you know, this especially can be an issue when I'm going to the gym before a shift at the club, because when I do a shift at the club, I wear 3 pairs of underwear. Sometimes 2. Sometimes I do wear 1 pair, but more often than not, yeah, working at the club, I tend to wear, my average is 3 pairs of underwear at once. I have my reasons for that. You know, yes, some guys can try to be pretty grabby, and, you know, also I just don't want to accidentally show more than I intend to show. On stage or otherwise, I guess. The lights are very, very bright and very, very revealing. On stage especially, and especially nowadays. So just for like my own false sense of security, I guess, I'll wear 3 pairs of underwear usually. But with that being the case, if I do manage to try to squeeze in some time at the gym on the treadmill before a shift, wearing the 3 pairs of underwear like that, you know, the 3 pairs stacked up together, it's more fabric pushing into my upper legs like that. And that's usually when if I have that combination of having the 3 pairs of underwear on and also being on the treadmill, taking it to that higher speed than I would normally take it to, like, you know, usually it's at a speed of 6 or more, like 6. So yeah, me doing the speed of 7 yesterday, even though I wasn't doing it very long, that speed is just honestly kind of too fast for me. I'm on the shorter side. I have short legs. Up until recently, I hadn't been going to the gym like this entire winter. I hadn't been to the gym 1 time this entire winter until just a couple weeks ago. So, you know, I haven't really been in it for a while. So I'm kind of just getting back into it. So my body is not as conditioned to do this kind of stuff, you know, as it once was, like last summer and other previous times, like, you know, warmer months usually, like more in the summertime. There were times though, even last summer, because last summer, smaller for summer, like I had my summer body, but even being smaller, my legs being smaller, there were still some times with last summer where that was sometimes still an issue, even just wearing 1 pair of underwear. I think because last summer I was taking the treadmill to a speed of 6 a lot. So last summer I was taking it, I know I've mentioned this a lot recently, but I just want to keep mentioning it because I'm proud of it, honestly. But, well, I'm proud of that part, but not this part. But anyway, so I'm not proud of the chafing, of course, but I'm proud of the fact that last summer I was taking the treadmill to a speed of 6 and above. I was doing a speed of 6 and above for the entire 99-minute workouts that I was doing on the treadmill like that. So yeah, it would be the entire workout, no breaks, no pauses, no stopping, 99 minutes straight of a speed of 6 or more. Obviously, I wasn't doing that every single time I went to the gym, but I was doing that very frequently last summer. So again, anytime that I take the treadmill to a speed of over 6, that's usually when I have to watch out for that issue with the chafing. So because I was doing that so often last summer, a speed of 6 and above, and I was doing it for so long at a time, even though my legs were smaller for the summer, and even though a lot of that time I was just wearing 1 pair of underwear, it was still an issue that I had to watch out for. And I would notice there were only certain pairs of underwear and just certain types of clothes that would be better for that, whereas some other types of clothes would be more of an issue. So I was really hoping that I didn't get any chafing with that yesterday, but I guess I did. And I didn't notice it until after I had already been on stage here at the club. And so there's just this little tiny area on my upper right thigh that looks kind of like red from it. And I did put a little bit of concealer on it later last night after I noticed it. But before I noticed it, I just remember thinking, oh crap, like that's not gonna look good, you know, for people to like, you know what I mean, to be a stripper and have this like red area like down there. Like that's probably gonna look bad. Anyway, I have to go sign into the club. This is not a good time to take a pause. Okay, I'm a silver lining kind of person. What is the upside to this? The upside of this is me talking about this. I want to think I won't mind as much if this video doesn't post properly. Ah ha ha, I don't want to jinx it, but hey. Can't forget that. Okay. Oh my god. Yes. What was I just saying? I literally don't care as much today at all if this video doesn't post properly, because yes, I have issues with my streams in the past a lot not posting. However, I know I look like complete crap in this video, as I have a lot lately. I'm pretty sure the only reason my streams seem to be doing a little better lately as far as posting, a lot of them have been a little bit shorter than they used to be. Honestly, I don't think that's the reason. I think the real reason is because I just look especially like crap a lot lately, and that includes today. But with that combined with what I'm saying right now, who cares? It would be bad. I look awful, right? I just can't even do this right now. Like, and especially with what I'm saying, this is really embarrassing, because a lot of, you know, especially when I'm like tired, like I was yesterday after the gym and just sore, you know, I didn't want to be on that pole the entire time. So a lot of the floor work that I was doing, I was trying not to like completely lay back on the floor because the stage floor was so dirty. So a lot of the other kind of floor work that I'll do when the stage is like that, I'll kind of prop my body up with my hands and kind of extend my legs out to the side, kind of trying to make like parallel lines with my legs and my arms. And, you know, also just like to try to stretch my legs out, especially after I've been like working out at the gym or whatever, just to like stretch. But in doing that, I feel like that red area where I did get a little bit of chafing at the gym yesterday, I feel like before I noticed that, because it wasn't that bad, it was just a little bit, but it was enough to where I know that it was like discolored and like kind of like a red looking spot. So yeah, before I noticed it, before I had noticed and put concealer on it, I was just thinking how like me extending my legs out and like guys would have been able to see that area, and they're probably just like, oh, what a dirty stripper. It probably looked like I had like some kind of gross issue down there, but really it was just chafing from the gym. And yeah, I don't know, that's just a crappy feeling, you know what I mean? Because it's like I try to push myself so hard and I try so hard to like be in shape, or I mean after the winter especially, it's more like get back in shape. But you know, it's like it's already a drag, it's already kind of like a hassle and a chore and a job pretty much for me to try to get to the gym and do that kind of thing. And then yeah, it's like I could have just, if I had just stuck with the 7 miles, I would have gotten a better thumbnail, or I could have, not that I would have to do that anyways for the thumbnail, but I don't know, I just, doing the mileage with my hands like that for the thumbnail, it was also a way to try to like, so I'd be able to like see that and like remember, like just looking at the thumbnail without having to try to remember what video it was in, me talking about that. But yeah, this looks better than this, obviously. So if I had stayed with 7 miles, it would have looked better for the thumbnail. And also, yeah, me pushing to get that 8 miles, I'm pretty sure that's what caused that chafing, probably. Because yeah, again, usually when I do the like slower, more like regular kind of speeds, for me, it's not really as much of an issue. It really seems to happen the most the faster I go on the treadmill. And especially that, yeah, in combination with me wearing multiple layers of undergarments before doing a shift here at the club. I don't know if I'm like allowed to say underwear or not. Undergarments, it's basically the same thing, but I don't want to say the P word. As if that's like a bad word. I don't know. It just sounds, I don't know. Anyway, so I was, just kind of, it's just a bummer, It's like when you push yourself so hard to try to do what you want to think is a good thing, and then the result you end up getting from that is just like this embarrassing thing, this embarrassing result that looks bad, it's painful, and then also it's like that, and then I'm just sore, like sore and tired. If anything, I look more bloated today, I feel like. So I just can't win. And then also, yeah, me going back to the apartment that I sleep at last night, it was up from 7 earlier that day, it was up to 8. So it was just all bad. What's on my thumb right now? It's weird. Oh gosh. But okay. So let's see, a positive thing. Well, yeah, I don't know. I was trying to tell myself for the past, for February and also for this month, I've been trying to tell myself, part of me going back to the gym lately and recently, it's been me trying to tell myself to like try to get back in shape for spring and summer and stuff like that. For the winter and also up until recently, and even now, actually, my diet has been pretty unhealthy, pretty just, you know, not the best, just not I could do better. I know that I could do better for sure. Like I really want to try to do better, definitely. Just try to take more accountability for my own choices with that stuff. And but one, I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like I've lost a lot of the progress that I had made. I mean, it's a mix. It's a mix. Actually, lately I've actually done a lot of new things for the first time, but also in the mix of that, there's also stuff that I had been doing a couple months ago that I haven't been able to do for a while. I've just lost a certain amount of flexibility, it feels like, or just, like the winter is just really tensed me up. So yes, it's a weird mix. I've made progress in the sense that I've been doing I'm still able to do some of the really challenging, difficult things as I was before, like going upside down in the pole in a corset and, going upside down in the pole and doing pole tricks with different outfits and different fabrics and doing different pole tricks that way. But yeah, there's also other stuff that I can feel that I've lost progress with as far as certain moves that I like to do, not even just on the pole, but like just in general, mostly related to strength and flexibility. But so lately, one positive thing that I have noticed though as well is besides doing a few like new things for the first time, sorry, there's like a bunch of people walking around outside right now. one of the things that I recently had noticed myself losing progress with, that just within the past like week or so, few shifts to like a week ago, that I feel like I've gotten back to doing better with. It's this thing that I would call skywalking. It's this thing that I do on the pole where you climb the pole. You can still do it from a standing position, like standing on the stage with the pole, but I prefer, for it to really be skywalking to me, I prefer to do it after climbing the pole and getting some height. So I climb the pole and I hold on to it like this. Sometimes I'll try to do it with this arm on top and this one on bottom, but I am right-handed, so normally, and I also had a shoulder injury with this left shoulder recently. So, and yeah, I'm right-handed is mostly the reason. So normally I'll try to do it with my right hand on top. I'll grab the pole with both hands and I'll kind of like push my body off to the side, and to where the only thing gripping the pole at that point is my hands. My hands are actually, when I'm doing this, my hands are the only thing making contact with the pole, which is weird to think about. So yeah, I'm definitely using a lot of my arm and my shoulder strength, whatever of that I might actually still have, to do this move. So the only part of my body making contact with the pole is my hands. So my grip for this has to be like a death grip. So I'm gripping the pole, I push the rest of my body away from the pole so that none of the rest of my body is making contact with the pole whatsoever. So it's like my body is here, then there's this space, and here's the pole. Here's my body, here's the pole. There's space in between, and then my arms are the only thing in between making that bridge. So I'm really trying to like keep my arms straight and like secure a lot of like, anyways, so my feet are dangling in the air and I'm kind of like walking them slowly. Like it's like a walking move. It's like almost like a bicycle pedal. But I try to do it as slowly and as gracefully as I can try to get it. Depending on the music, if there's a song or a part in a song that's a little bit faster, I will start to do it faster with my legs as well. Or like if the lyrics in the song talk about running, a lot of songs have lyrics about walking, so I'll try to do it with the lyrics about walking. But then if a song mentions running, I'll do it maybe faster, like it looks more like running. So yeah, because my legs and my feet and the rest of my body other than my hands are all in the air, and I'm making that kind of walking, running kind of motion, I call it skywalking. So that's something that I've always struggled with that. I really don't feel like I have a whole lot of shoulder strength or like arm strength. I do thankfully want to think I have a pretty good grip though, because I do a lot of stuff to try to work on my grip strength. But up until just the past couple weeks, that's a move that I had not really been able to do as much anymore. I was just really struggling with that. I wasn't really able to push my body away from the pole like that enough to really do it or get a good enough grip. But just within the past, I want to say week or so, maybe week or two, very recently, I've been able to get back into doing that. And that's a move that I really do like to do. It's very challenging for me, but I just like the way that it looks. I think it looks very kind of graceful and ethereal, just kind of soft and romantic. Because I really do try to do it very slow. Again, unless the music is faster or it mentions running, normally with that move, I try to do it very, very slowly and very softly and just like very gentle, very delicate, very slow, very controlled. And I try to hold that and do that, you know, for as long as I can stand to do it. It's very difficult for me. It relies so much on like a death grip on that pole, and that pole is usually so slippery. So in order for me to even try to do that, I have to really just get that grip, which is really, it's a difficult thing to even just get the grip in the first place, because again, the pole is usually so slippery. But anyways, I've been able to get back into doing that lately, which is, I definitely feel like that's a positive thing. So I'm happy about that. There's a few other things that I have written down from last night, but I think a few of them I'll probably just put off to another time. One thing that I do want to mention from last night, it's been a while since I've done a double stage with another dancer. Well, I had done one with Taz recently, which was awesome. That was probably a few weeks ago. Anyone that doesn't know who Taz is, just scroll through my channel, like other videos, you will find her. She's on my channel. But last night I ended up doing a double with another dancer, which again, I normally don't do doubles. But not that I like am against them or don't like to do them. It just, well, I mean, they do make me a little anxious and uncomfortable. Like I get just spatially kind of anxious with it. Like I don't know what the other person's gonna do, and I don't want to get in their way, and I don't want them to accidentally like kick me or hit me or the stage is only so big, you know what I mean? But so last night I did a double with a dancer that I've never done a double with before. Well, most of the dancers I haven't done a double with before, but anyway, I don't really know her that well, but from what I've seen of her, she's very outgoing. I'm pretty sure she's a Leo. So yes, very outgoing, just very social. She just has that kind of Leo personality for sure, which I do really like. So I was already on stage, and then she got called on after me. So when she came on after me, I was still on the stage, and she was like, no, just stay on. I was like, oh, you want me to stay on with you? And she was like, yeah. So we just started dancing around together, and I actually, at that point, there were people by the stage, but it was still overall a pretty slow night. And I feel like the vibes up until then, the vibes had kind of been dying down a little bit, to where maybe the few people that were still there at the club or there at the stage were maybe getting a little bit bored. So I wanted to, yeah, just try to spice it up and just, you know, keep the people that were still there interested, or try to. So a few moments after starting doing that double stage with her, I did start to dance around kind of fast. You know, like, which feels weird when there's somebody else on stage. Like, especially doing a double, I want to like try to normally just be really careful and like not get in their way. But I don't know, she's kind of short too though. So I started dancing around the whole stage really fast and just trying to make the most of the moment, you know. And then I climbed the pole. Then I was like, all right, I need to just like get out of the way. So I climbed the pole and just stayed at the top of the pole and just like perched and just like watched down, like kind of like surveyed the rest of the room from above, like the bird's eye view. So I just like, sometimes I just feel safer up there, where I'm just like, it's just me and the pole up there in the sky, you know, and I can just like look down and watch. But at that point, she was getting tipped really good. The guys, because at first, like the guys at the stage, they were the same group of guys that had already been there for hours and hours. So I feel like at that point, it seemed like maybe they were running out of money to tip with, or they were just getting bored because they had already seen most of all the dancers there. And again, they had already been there for hours. So I feel like up until then, they almost seemed like they were like kind of just getting bored. But then when we started doing the double together, yeah, she just started getting tipped really well. But I was for most of that, at that point, I was really only dancing around the whole stage really fast for a few moments, you know, maybe for like a minute or two. And then after that is when I climbed the pole and kind of just stayed up there for a while. So most of the time that she was starting to get tipped really well, I was just pretty much at the top of the pole, just kind of hanging out, like literally just like hanging out up there. And that's when she really started to get tipped. So I don't know, eventually So normally when dancers do a double stage like that, normally they both get off at the same time. They both get off the stage together and they'll split the tips. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the DJ doesn't like me. So I don't know. The DJ called me off before her. So after a few songs of that, but I was really I was on the pole for like, you know, a while. Like I was doing that skywalking move for some of that. And I was definitely really like making an effort and exerting myself. And I do feel like I want to think that I was at least part of why the guys at the stage were starting to tip pretty good again. But so then after a few songs of that, of her and I dancing together up there, the DJ called me off of the stage, but said that she was going to be staying on by herself for like another few songs. So I was like, all right, whatever. I just did it, you know. I was trying to like be professional or whatever. I didn't want to like make a scene or make a fuss. So, but basically like all the ones that dancer ended up getting tipped on stage, like because I was called off before her and we got off the stage at different times, it wasn't like as natural for us to just split the tips. So she ended up walking off the stage later on after being up there by herself after that for a few songs. You know, she ended up getting off the stage by herself with all those ones. And I had already been off the stage for a few songs by that point. And I was like behind the scenes, like in one of the dressing rooms, you know, just gone and forgotten about already at that point. So, but I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, maybe if she sees me later on tonight, like maybe she'll just like tip me a few dollars. You know what I mean? Maybe she'll just like be like, oh, here's a few dollars from that stage set that we did together. But, you know, she didn't. And I mean, you know, whatever, that's fine. But it was still kind of a little bit of a bummer, you know, because I was working really hard up there for sure. I mean, I pretty much always do. The vast majority of the time that I'm on stage, I am working very hard. So anyways, but not only that, at first, because I had been on stage before her, before we started doing that double together, when I was up there by myself at first, I did have a few dollars that I had been tipped, and I just had so much stuff with me, like besides my big heavy backpack, earmuffs included now. Earmuffs come with me wherever I go from now on. My precious. So besides the big heavy bag, I had like multiple layers of clothing. I had just a lot of stuff with me. And so the few dollars, I did have like a little handful of dollars that I had been tipped on stage when I had been up there by myself before she came on to join me. And normally I would, normally I would put the dollars in my bag, like on the side zipper compartment. But I think the side zipper compartment was already like just stuffed full of other stuff, like my iPod from the gym earlier and like paper towels to clean the pole with and stuff. Yeah, my bag is just full of stuff to where I can't really fit much else in there. It's just a big jumbled mess pretty much, like kind of like a black hole or a Mary Poppins bag, if anybody's seen that movie. But there could be a lamp in there for all I know at this point. But anyway, so I rested the dollars that I had gotten tipped on top of my bag, which I wanted to think would be fine because if she had like, why would she try to take those? That would just be like weird and rude and like bad karma. Or I mean, she was on stage, so people probably would have seen her do that. And I was trying to keep an eye. I mean, I was still out of the corner of my eye, or like really with both of my eyes like front and center for a lot of that. I was watching my bag and watching my dollars like I always do. And then yeah, when I climbed the pole and I was at the top of the pole, I was like looking down, like staring at my bag and the dollars on there. But and also, I mean, she had, especially when I was at the top of the pole, she was already getting tipped so many dollars herself. But I just remember later on when the DJ called me off stage before her, I remember I went to get my bag and I went to get that little handful of dollars, and the little handful of dollars felt smaller by a long shot. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was like only $4 when I went back into the dressing room to count them later. And like $4 just, I remember when I first put that little stack of dollars, it wasn't like a messy jumble, like jumbled mess of dollars that I put on top of my bag. They were all like stacked together as like one neat little like straight line. Like, they were all this a little stack. And I just know that when I put that stack on top of my bag earlier, it did not feel like $4. It felt like, I don't know, maybe at least like 10 to 15, or it just definitely felt it definitely felt like more than 4. And I could feel a noticeable difference in the dollars when I went to get them later on before I got off stage. And I was like, that can't be right. Like, why? Because I had been watching them. I had been looking at them the whole time, pretty much. Like, I thought that I was. Maybe if there was like a split second when I wasn't looking directly at them, I don't know, but maybe it's just one of those things. Maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe it's just me being paranoid. I don't know. But anytime I take the slightest bit of risk, like anytime I take the slightest chance of not being like 100% on top of every single thing that I can be, it just seems like it goes wrong, or it's taken advantage of. Like me leaving my car now in a few minutes to go into the club, I feel like anything that I leave in here, stuff has gone missing from my car before. So it's like anything that I leave in my car when I go into the club, it's my own fault if it goes missing later, because I didn't make a point to bring it with me. But I can only carry so much with me at all times. I can only like do so much. Dancers here at the club, other dancers leave their stuff out everywhere. Countertops, just in the locker room, unattended, unlocked, their actual literal purse. A lot of dancers will leave their literal purses unattended, unlocked, just right there out in the open. Like, they just are that trusting, they just don't care. And for me, it's like any little thing that I'm not watching at all times, I feel like it's on me. If it goes missing, it's on me if it's gone later. Because I do have that issue to where stuff goes missing for me. Like, I feel like I'm being messed with from all directions and all corners a lot of the times. Like, I can't trust anyone, anything. Like, it's all on me. I have to be on top of every single thing that I can think to be on top of. If I take my mind, if I take my focus, if I take my attention off of one tiny detail for 1/2 fraction of a split moment second, that's on me, and it can just be messed up and taken advantage of and just ruined. I don't know. And then so anytime that I relax the slightest bit or show the tiniest little bit of trust for anyone or anything, or try to practice, try to work on those trust issues, anytime that I dare to do that to the slightest extent, it's like it just goes wrong. It's like a lesson where I can't do that. I cannot relax. I cannot relax for anything, anyone, anytime, any place, ever. And that's a terrible way to exist, honestly. Like, I despise feeling like this. I really do. It's terrible. It's awful. It's just, but, I guess that's just how it is. I don't know. I want to work on it. But I try to work on it, but it just seems to go wrong. It just seems to bite me in the arse when I do try to work on it like that. Like, it's like I feel like I just don't have a choice. It's my choice is that, or continue to just slowly but surely lose my stuff. And it's survival to me. It's I ain't got no one other than myself, really. Like, I can't. It's just me. It's like everything. I feel like everything else out there is just directed, it's weaponized, it's against me. Like, my phone, everything just it's the electric meter, my landlord, people at the club, like, a lot of, not everyone at the club, thankfully, but a lot of the, I just, just everything. It just feels like everything a lot of times, or damn close to it, and it's wow, like wow. But I also really despise this notion of everything having to be all about money. You know, I really try to resist that and like kind of rebel against it. Like, I talk all the time on my channel about how I really don't even approach dancing from a money standpoint. It is supposed to be more of a workout for me, but even with that, I still have to pay to work here. You know, I'm still trying to make what savings I have left from a previous job last as long as I possibly can. And, you know, stuff's expensive. Me doing my YouTube like this, I'm burning through so much gas in my car, and just, it's less time me here at the club. Like, technically my shift's already started and I'm not in there, and just, oh gosh, it's just, yeah, I really can't stand this feeling of everything having to be all about money. I hate it so much. It's not the cost of living for me, it's the cost of existing. 4:30 on the dot. But I want to live. I want to live so bad, you know. I want to actually be able to live someday, and it's like, when is that day? Will that day ever come? Or how do I try to pretend that it can already be a possibility now without me having to wait for it or to keep trying to work for it? It's like, how do I do that now while I still can, maybe, but I can't. I can't seem to do it. I don't know how. I'm still stuck trying to survive desperately. Like, every single moment is just a desperate struggle for survival still to this day. It always has been. So I just don't know. But, you know, yeah, that double that I did with that other dancer last night, I was definitely pushing myself. I was definitely pushing my comfort zone. I guess I did continue to learn another tough lesson with that, though, as far as just, you know, don't trust anyone for a split second ever, and for even the slightest reason, or just guard every little thing that I can, like tooth and nail, with my last breath, of like, just with everything that I have, every moment, just all of my attention, all of my focus, all of my energy, just, which is impossible. It's impossible. When I went to the grocery store earlier, I went to get a few things. I brought this with me. This is a bag of my clothes, my dearest and dearest clothing that I don't want to have go missing the most, I guess. I don't want anything to go missing, but especially like whatever I feel the most that way about, I try to carry with me around at all times now, besides the backpack that I have. It's like I'm gonna be like a Sherpa at the point. You know the Sherpas that climb Mount Everest? They like have like they carry all this stuff for people, and it's like if you look at pictures online of Sherpas that climb mountains like that, it's like their backs are stacked with these bags that go up for like 10 feet into the sky. I feel like I'm gonna be like that pretty much. Or yeah, probably literally in the future. If I wasn't, or in the future, if I'm not able to be at the apartment that I'm at now and that I've been at for a while, longest I've ever been able to be in one place by myself. Like, growing up, my family always moved. Me being by myself, I've been able to hold down and maintain a secure location for myself somehow, some way, for over 10 years, the longest that I've ever been able to be in one place for any reason. But in the future, if I weren't able to be there anymore, that pretty much would be me. Just everything that I have in my car, if I'm still able to have my car even, or just on my back like a Sherpa, I guess. It's just all I deserve, despite how hard I work, and despite how much I push myself, and despite how long I've been, I don't know. It's a weird world that we're in, apparently. But I am proud of myself, regardless of what happened with the dollars on stage with the double last night. I am still proud of myself for pushing myself to just push my comfort zone like that, you know, because my anxiety with pretty much any and every situation, especially with something like that, it's sky high as well. It's also sky high. And just, I was very on edge for a lot of that, but I was pushing myself. And you know what? Before that also though, before that, I was so tired. I mean, so tired. I had already been going hard most of that shift for hours and hours already. This was towards the end of the night pretty much. So when that happened, that double stage. So yeah, up until then, I had already been doing a lot of stage. I had already been doing a lot of pole tricks. And, you know, after doing the 8 miles earlier at the gym that afternoon. So, you know, I was sore, I was exhausted, and I didn't think that I had anything left in me. I was at that point just really struggling and pushing myself just to try to finish out the rest of the night and the rest of the shift and still stay until closing time like I normally would. And, you know, also then towards the end of the night, they put the smoke back on that I'm allergic to. But I still did it. But, you know, me on stage by myself before that other dancer came on for that double, I had been laying on my back pretty much, even though I didn't want to because the stage floor was so dirty and disgusting. I was trying to avoid doing that for most of the, as much as I wanted to for most of the shift. I was trying to avoid that and still go on the pole and still dance around and still go pretty hard on stage and stuff. But at that point, again, it was towards the end of the night, so I was just so tired and I was just giving in and just like on my back, just stretching and doing floor work and not even really moving from that one position I was in though. I did like 3 songs in a row. Out of the 3-song set that I did before she came on to join me, the other dancer, out of the 3-song sets that I did by myself first, 2 of those entire songs were just me pretty much in one spot, in one position, just flat on my back with my legs up in the air, just like kind of stretching and just twirling my legs around, doing like, I don't know, just moving my legs around and doing floor work that way. But I wasn't moving, but other than that, it was pretty much just my legs that were moving in the air, and I was on my back, again, as much as I didn't want to be. A lot of dancers can do that and make it look normal and fine, and it's no big deal, and they'll still get rained on. For me, if I'm doing that kind of thing, that's me trying not to fall asleep. Like, that's just me, like, I'm spent at that point, like, because normally when I'm on stage, I'm on the pole, or I'm dancing around really fast, or I'm twirling around, I'm doing stuff, I'm trying to go hard most of the time when I'm there. And then when I just, you know, hit that wall where I'm just too exhausted to continue to do so at some point in that 10-hour shift, you know, it's like, yeah, every now and then when I'm doing that kind of floor work just on my back like that, it's like, yeah, I'm just, the tiredness is just really hitting me at those moments. And that was 2 out of the 3 songs. I was pretty much just doing that, really not moving from that one spot. I think the third stage, or not the third stage, the 3rd song of that set, when it was still just me up there for that round, I kind of moved a little bit, like I flipped around and just kind of like, you know, got into like a different position, like on my knees, I guess, or pushing off the floor with my hands to kind of just, but still basically still in a seated position, or, well, before it was a lying position, but that was, then I flipped around, it was like a seated position, and it was still just me, still for me being pretty lazy and just floor work. And then after that song is when she came on, and then when she came on, I shot right back up to a standing position, and I don't know, something else was like reactivated, and I just started dancing all around the stage really fast, climbed the pole with my socks rolled up, you know, like just did my thing up there again. I was like just brought back to life. And so regardless of what may or may not have happened with the dollars that I had before that, I still, you know, pushed myself, and I still went on the pole and kind of came back to life, you know, and yeah, pushed my boundaries, pushed my comfort zone in a good way, I want to think, challenged myself. So, and I felt less tired after that, you know, so it was like a natural high, natural adrenaline reactivated within me. And so that part was nice, you know, and in that sense, in that regard, I'm glad that I did that and pushed myself to do that. But yeah, anyway. but also another lesson learned in the dollar department, I guess, unfortunately. But hey, that's, that is how things tend to go for me. More financial struggles. There was the employee that was working in the office, in one of the offices last night. She does tarot cards sometimes on Tuesdays, and it had been a few weeks since I'd done that with her, but I did ask to draw one card. So I drew one tarot card with her last night towards the end of the night. It was actually, when I drew that one tarot card, it was after doing that double stage with the other dancer. So I was kind of feeling weird about it, you know what I mean? I was feeling a little conflicted, like proud that I had pushed myself to do it, but then also kind of like confused about the dollar situation. So I was like, let me go draw a tarot card right now. I was like, I need to go draw a tarot card. And so I did that, and the tarot card that I drew was Patience. And it was facing me, which whenever the cards are facing me, I mean, if they're mostly good cards, or if they seem like they're good cards and they're facing me, I want to think that's a good thing and take that as a good sign. So, and patience has always been a huge struggle for me. Does not come naturally to me in the slightest bit. I've always struggled with patience, but for the most part, I've always been pretty self-aware about that, and just at least, known that it's something that I'll probably have to work on, like as like a lifelong thing probably. But yeah, I don't know, that's what I drew, and it made sense to me. Definitely, it feels like a very symbolic, significant card for someone like me, that I resonate with a lot, like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But anyway, so sorry, not that exciting, but still stuff that I want to mention because it's interesting to me, and I want to try to remind myself and remember as much as I can, as best I can. Which is a large part of what a lot of my videos are about for me, is just kind of to try to remember, like a reminder for myself. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully somebody out there might find it interesting too, to at least some level, some extent. I don't know. Maybe, who knows? Oh, which reminds me, I did try to get back to some of the comments that I had pending last night. I always feel really bad when I get comments and I don't like respond or reply to them. I did try to do that last night, but it's another one of those things that really stresses me out, I guess, because, stuff on my phone always seems to be kind of messed up, and it seems like a lot of the comments that I've tried to leave, not a lot, but it seems like some of the comments that I've tried to leave, like replying back to people, maybe don't get posted, or at times even it seems like they've been deleted. So I'm not too sure why that might be or what might be going on with that, but if that's been the case for anyone, I don't know, I apologize if that's happened, because yeah, sometimes it takes me a little while, but I do eventually usually try to respond to comments, react, respond, reply, that kind of thing. So I hope that most of those have been posting okay. Otherwise I would feel pretty bad about that, but anyone whose comments I might have missed, or if some of them, for whatever reason, if I tried to reply and they didn't post properly, I apologize. I'll try to keep going back and checking on those from time to time as best I can, but I also, to be honest, I try not to do it too much because it does also really stress me out and give me anxiety. So I'm trying to kind of find that balance between the two, of like not completely ignoring them, of course, because I love to get the comments and I'm like, yay, like, attention and just interaction, and so I love to get them and I really appreciate them. And yeah, I'm just trying to find that balance of like still checking on them and trying to reply, but not like obsessively to the point where it's like I get really stressed out if like they don't seem to be working properly, or if some of them just go missing or get deleted, or my replies don't post. I'm trying not to check them as obsessively as I've been checking the electric meter outside the apartment that I stay at. That I've been checking obsessively, and not with a good result. It's definitely just also, it's something else that's also really driving me crazy lately, which sucks. So yeah, I apologize if some of my replies to comments maybe haven't posted, or I'll just, again, try my best to check back on those a reasonable amount, I guess, like a moderate amount, I don't know. But I do really appreciate the comments, and I appreciate the, you know, likes and subscribers and the views a lot. I do a lot. But yeah, I am going to wrap. It's 4:44 on the dot. There is a truck parked in front of me they've had their lights on, and they've been parked there for a long time. Exactly, I first started to notice it, but it's been making me a little uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, honestly. I think when I finish this stream, I'm just gonna walk over to their driver's side door and just see who it is, and I'm feeling kind of froggy about it. Just to be like, what are you doing? There's a floor host that's somewhere, he comes out to the lobby to check out the front door. Like, there's a floor host that looks out the front door fairly often. Pistachio, I've mentioned Pistachio, so it's not like we're like behind the building where it's like dangerous. It's not dark out yet, so he's parked like just right in front of me, and the lights have been on, and I can't see anybody through the windshield, but it's just, oh god, there's another person. There's a sorry. No. Oh. You know what I thought was the cutest thing? One of the videos that I watched back somewhat kind of recently, I think it was the one where I was at the airport like a couple weeks ago, and I had my hair in braids. My hair, yes, I know. And there was like a plane taking off or something, or I was like, it was near the airport, so I was hearing planes and maybe like seeing planes or something, and I looked up kind of like that, and I like kind of pulled in my braids, and it was kind of just like random and spontaneous, like, but just the way that I did it, when I watched it back, I started cracking up, and I was like, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen, practically. I don't remember if I was wearing my earmuffs or not. Oh, there's a person. Okay, there's a girl smoking a cigarette right now, so that's probably a good time for me to go over to the truck and see who it is and what they're doing. There's two people out there, so okay, now's a good time. Now's my chance. I wanted to put in the description for that video, though, like what the timestamp would be for that particular part of that video, because I want to remind myself, like, just when I'm feeling blue, like I am a lot of times, like when I'm feeling down, just like go to that timestamp for that video and like find that part of the video, just like cheer myself up. I don't remember if I was wearing my earmuffs for that part of the video, but I hope that I was. But even if I hadn't been, I feel like the braids were enough at that time to just like be so cute, and I was like, I love that. Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna go check on that truck, and I'll try to get back to you guys. What are they doing? They're either watching me, or they're doing a stream of their own, or like, you know, I'm gonna go find out. All right. I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are well. Peace out for now. Hopefully I'll be able to come back on again soon. Oh, this Friday is Friday the 13th. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to come on sometime Friday. I'm gonna try for it. Okay, bye for now, guys. Oh, 100 minutes. Okay, bye for now.